Hello friends, in this video we'll be comparing the Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro versus the Apple iPhone 12 mini. Let's get into it. So in a nutshell, the Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro is a super value-packed device. It's more of an international device compared to the Apple iPhone 12 mini. That is a worldwide renown and very popular in the United States, just as it is in other parts of the world. But the Xiaomi phone, it is not too well known in the US, and it's kind of difficult to get it in the US, but regardless, it packs a lot of punch, especially for its price. So let's go ahead and deep dive into more specs and comparisons and see what stands out to me. So the first thing let's compare is the weight of these devices. The Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro weighs in at 193 grams, translates to 6.81 ounces. Not too bad, kind of light, not too heavy. But compared to the iPhone 12 mini, this phone weighs 135 grams, only 4.76 ounces. That is a lightweight phone on the iPhone 12 mini, super lightweight. Another thing that really stands out about the Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro is that it is a dual SIM phone. It is kind of awesome that it could support 2 physical SIM cards. That's the standard of being an international release phone, as they always have dual SIM capabilities. It's another story for the iPhone 12 mini. The iPhone 12 mini does support dual SIM card capability, but one is a physical SIM card, the other one is eSIM. So depending on what your flexibility is, you might like an eSIM when traveling, or you might like that unlocked dual SIM to just pop in another SIM card. So it's your choice. Let's talk about water and dust resistance. The Redmi Note 10 Pro has an IP rating of 53 and its dust and splash protection offering. So this is not going to be a fully submerged device. This will support some splashes of water if you're in the rain, if you drop it in the sink when you're washing your dishes or something, or whatever the case is. It's offers just barely a little bit of water and dust protection. The iPhone 12 mini has an IP rating of 68 and it's fully dust and water resistant up to 6 meters for 30 minutes fully submerged. So if you're anywhere near water a lot, the ocean, your pool, vacationing, stuff like that, then roll with the iPhone 12 mini. Next, let's talk about one super important thing, and that's the screen. You're staring at this thing all damn day, so you can look at your profiles, look at your games, look at your movies, watch all that type of stuff, browsing the web. It's going to be very important. The Redmi Note 10 Pro has that 6.7 inch screen, that AMOLED display, 120 hertz. You got 450 nits, which is average typical brightness, and you get 1200 nits of peak brightness. You got 86% screen to body ratio, and you compare that to the iPhone 12 mini. That one has a Super Retina XDR OLED display at 5.4 inches, and you get a screen to body ratio at 85%. So you definitely got a super nice display on the iPhone. The Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro is not far behind, but the screen is so much more massive on the Redmi Note 10 Pro. There's a reason why the iPhone 12 mini has that mini in the name. The resolution on the Xiaomi phone is a 1080 by 2400 pixels, so it's a full HD display with 395 ppi density. The iPhone mini also has a full HD display at 1080 by 2340 with 476 ppi density. So these phone screens are pretty similar. They're both going to be nice to the naked eye if you're not super picky. Another very important feature of a smartphone is the software, and these two are very different. Obviously, the Redmi Note 10 Pro is running Android 11 with the MIUI 12 skin on top, as the iPhone 12 mini has that usual iOS software. This one's running iOS 14 and it's probably going to be upgraded for like 5 years. Can't say the same about the Redmi Note 10 Pro. Who knows if it will get updated at all. But regardless, it's going to have a lot of features that Android runs, a lot of customizing. You can't really do that too much with iOS, although you got widgets now and stuff, but to each their own. Another thing that's very important in a smartphone is the chip that it uses. So what are these phones using to run the software? So you're using a Snapdragon 732 from Qualcomm on the Redmi Note 10 Pro. And the iPhone Mini 12, the iPhone 12 Mini is using the Apple-made A14 Bionic chip. Now that's the same chip that's used in even more heavy-duty phones like the iPhone 12 Pro. But the Xiaomi phone is not behind too much because that Snapdragon 732G will be perfectly fine to handle most activities people use on their phones, especially for the price point of this device. Next, let's talk about storage. And these phones will not disappoint, but in very different ways. So on the Redmi Note 10 Pro, you have 64 gigs of internal storage. Not too bad. The iPhone 12 Mini also has 64 gigs of storage. Not too bad, but it gets a little bit worse. So in comparison, the Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro, although it has only 64 gigs of storage, you could add a micro SD card to it since it has the slot for it. So you could exponentially raise the storage on this device. Cannot say the same about the iPhone. You have to stick to whatever storage model you got. Although you could pick also from 128 or 250 gigs of storage, but you have to buy that right off the bat and it's more expensive. So I got to give it to the Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro. Next, let's get into the cameras. Both of these phones support multiple cameras on the back. Let's start with the Note 10 Pro. That one has a massive main camera with 108 megapixels. Then it has a 8 megapixel ultra wide. And then it has two other ones. It has a 5 megapixel macro, 2 megapixel depth. So a total of 4 cameras. On the iPhone 12 Mini, you only get two 12 megapixel cameras. One is a main camera and the other one is an ultra wide. Now, I'm going to flat out say it. The iPhone 12 Mini is going to take super awesome pictures and videos, no doubt, even if it has only 2 cameras. Now, the Redmi Note 10 Pro is not going to disappoint either. These are very impressive specs for the type of phone that you're getting. You're getting 108 megapixels. And for the things that most people are going to do with this price point, they're going to be very impressed and happy uploading and shooting video on these things and sending it to their friends and messages. So you will not be disappointed by either of these phones' cameras. Both of the back cameras on these phones shoot in 4K. So it doesn't matter if you got the Redmi Note 10 Pro or if you got the iPhone 12 Mini, the video should be very crispy. And I don't think most people take advantage of 4K anyways. But it's there if you want it. Next, let's talk about the selfie cameras in the front. We have the Redmi Note 10 Pro with a 16 megapixel shooter, shoots at up to 1080p video. On the iPhone 12 Mini, we have a 12 megapixel shooter, but it shoots in 4K video for the selfie. So pretty impressive cameras from both of these devices, although you're getting less resolution on the Redmi Note 10 Pro, but it should still be good for most people. So we got a little surprise on the Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro, and that is that it has a headphone jack. You cannot say that about the iPhone 12 Mini. It is getting old, but yes, iPhones do not support the headphone jack anymore. So if you're still one of the few people that haven't fully embraced wireless headphones, for example, you're going to have to roll with the Redmi Note 10 Pro. So you can still connect your headphones, you can still connect the mic, or connect it to your car via an aux cord. Next, we are going to talk about the Bluetooth. Very underrated feature of phones in general, but the Redmi Note 10 Pro has Bluetooth 5.1 and the Apple iPhone 12 Mini has 5.0 Bluetooth. The reason I mention it is because this is essential on how phones connect and make their phones even better. So you're going to use this to connect your wireless headphones and wireless speakers and your smartwatch. Both of these phones support NFC, but in kind of different ways. You get the regular NFC on the Redmi Note 10 Pro, but it depends on what region and market you're in. NFC in the iPhone 12 mini is kind of reserved only for Apple Pay at this point, from what I understand. Next is the charging port. Now, the Redmi Note 10 Pro uses the standard USB-C. That's for typical Android devices nowadays. And you got the regular old Lightning port for the iPhone 12 mini. The one thing about the USB-C port is that this works with so many different devices. It's just more versatile. You can connect MacBooks, Chromebooks, Windows PCs, iPads, other tablets, other phones, while the Lightning port on the iPhone is usually only good for people that have other iOS devices. Both of these phones have different ways of unlocking. The Redmi Note 10 Pro uses a side-mounted fingerprint reader, while the iPhone 12 mini solely relies on Face ID, but both are really good at opening the phone. Next, a super important feature everyone cares about is battery life. Thankfully, the Redmi Note 10 Pro has a massive 5020 milliamp battery that will definitely last you all day. The iPhone 12 mini, I'm kind of worried about, but it only has a 2227 milliamp battery. Now, that's definitely not going to last you all day. That's probably one of the big drawbacks of this phone, is having such a small battery. But luckily, both of these phones have fast charge. So the Redmi Note 10 Pro has fast charging at 33 watts, which will get you 60% of charge in 30 minutes, while the iPhone 12 mini has fast charge at 20 watts and it charges 50% in 30 minutes, right around the same time for both of these phones. It also has the Qi magnetic charging, which they call MagSafe. So now that we went over the specs and the comparisons and everything, these are my conclusions. The things that stick out to me the most is going to be the value of these devices, and that means price right off the bat. The Redmi Note 10 Pro costs only $260 if you could get it to the US. I'm in the US, so it's going to be not as easy to get this phone on your hands real quick. As comparison, if you want to spend more money and you get your phone pretty much anywhere, you got the Apple iPhone 12 mini, but it costs at around $700. So you got more value, but it's going to be a little bit harder in the US to get. The other thing that stands out is the Redmi Note 10 Pro has a big old battery. The iPhone 12 mini is lacking in that department. And also that 108 megapixel camera really stands out. So you should definitely take some real good pictures and videos with that camera. Other than that, the iPhone 12 mini has a lot of premium feel to it. It just works. It's just gonna get 5 years of updates with the software. And the Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro, you got the dual SIM. It comes fully unlocked, and it's just an all-around good value. So if you have the money, spend it on the iPhone 12 mini, but you really don't care about battery, and get the Note 10 Pro. If you have a budget around $260, you won't be disappointed either way. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.